Hey guys, what's growing? It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm, and today is bed flip day. So I've been talking about it for a while. It is time. I have to get all of the ranunculus out of the high tunnel, and I need to flip those beds to plant new things, including the zinnias, which actually I turned back there. I thought they were here. They're out there already. So I'm gonna have to pull up all the ranunculus, which would normally go a lot faster if I wasn't saving corms. So if it's other crops that I'm flipping, it usually goes a little bit faster because I can just chop at the base, at the soil surface. I leave the roots in the ground and they do their thing, right? And then I can do the other stuff and get it ready for planting. But with ranunculus, I want to save those corms. I do not have any copyrighted ranunculus varieties in the high tunnel, so I can save these corms. If you have butterfly ranunculus or romance varieties, you can't save them because it's illegal, basically. But if you do, you need to pay that grower the same royalties that you paid when you bought them the first time. So that's why they say you don't save them. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull up these ranunculus. I have a couple of trays. So I'm going to try to pull them up to get the corms out of the ground. It'll be easier than digging around for them. And then I'll cut the tops off and I'll leave the tops in the pathways. Those will decompose and they can go on the bed tops as mulch later. But I want to get the corms out, and I have trays. I'm going to just load them up in there, tagged so I know what they are. And then when I get them home, I'll get them sorted and ready for storage until the fall. After I get them out of the ground, I'll pull up all the irrigation, get some of the nasty weeds that are in there, because there are a few really bad thistles that are in there, so I'll have to get those guys out. Pull up all the old irrigation, get rid of that. And then I'm going to broad fork the beds. Then I'm going to add some starter fertilizer if I have some here. Gosh, I don't even know if I do. And compost, and flatten the beds, get them ready, and then transplant the zinnias and some other stuff that I have out here and lay brand new irrigation. So it's a lot to do in one day. It's late in the day, like it's 12 o'clock. I don't usually start this late when I'm doing a project like this, but I had a lot of other customers to serve this morning, so it is what it is. I always like to try to flip a bed in one day. My goal is to always have something living in the soil. You create this, not you, the microbiology in the soil creates an ecosystem, and it relies on living plants to survive and to replicate and to stay healthy. When you remove living plants and there's no living roots for them to eat and to exchange nutrition and other stuff with, then they start to die. And if you let them go for too long, just bare empty soil, then that whole microbiome vanishes, it disappears, it dies. And you have to start all over again. So I like to do a bed flip as quickly as possible with as little disturbance as possible. I am a no-till for the most part, no-dig gardener / farmer. So yeah, that's my goal today. It's gonna be a lot of time lapse for you guys, unfortunately, but it's a fun process. I just put a book on and listened. Today I'm actually listening to the Growing for Market podcast. So it's all about market gardeners growing all kinds of things. And today I'm listening to talking about the soil microbiome. So it's timely. Anyway, let's get started. I've got to get a move on. It's going to get hot there in the tunnel. It's actually very windy today and only about 72 degrees. So it's beautiful. Chilly actually in the wind, even though it's sunny, but in the high tunnel it's going to be hot. So I'm going to make sure I take breaks when I need to, but other than that, let's get going. first phase done. It took a really long time. In fact, I am only going to do this bed today because I don't have time to really get the rest of that ranunculus out today, plus do all the other steps. So that will be tomorrow's project. But I'll show you the 2 trays I've got. Okay, so this is the ranunculus mix. These are all the different colors. And you can see I just got big chunks here. These are all individual corms. So when I get these home, I'll lay them out, I'll separate them out, and then I'll have lots of corms. This one is the iceberg variety. So this is 1 corm right here. There might be 2 in there, but yeah, so I'll get them a little bit cleaned up. They don't have to be super clean because if they're stored like this, as long as it's not super wet, which it's a little damp, I'm gonna dry it out first. That will help keep in some moisture so they don't get super dry because we're in a pretty arid place. Okay, that was a solid day's work. Yeah, it was only about 3 hours, but it was a lot of physical work, so it feels like a solid day's work. Well, here, I'll turn the camera around, then we'll talk about what I did, even though you've already watched it. The bed, we pulled up all the ranunculus. I broad forked the bed. Then I added compost, just a 1-inch layer on top. Pulled out all the old irrigation and put in the new irrigation, which is working brilliantly. So you can see those nice drips coming out. That's exactly what we want. Look at that, that's great. And it's going literally right to the root zone. So this irrigation, this drip tape, has 6-inch spacing on the emitters, which is what I plant most of my stuff at, so that's why I get it. So it also is helpful because if I lay the drip irrigation down first, then I can literally just use the holes, the emitter holes, as where I need to put my plants. So everything is 6 inches apart. I'm watering these in right now. I wanted to make sure that it was working, and it is. So here we have some zinnia. This is deep red and wine. Then we've got a small section of Queen Mix, and a small section of Giant Coral, and a small section of Cupcakes Mix. Now, it's going to be a couple months before these guys give us any flowers, but they're in. And then down at the end here, so this will still be, actually, what I think I'm going to do is there's basils over there. I think I'm going to put those basils down here at the end, and we'll kind of meet in the middle with more zinnia. So, because I have more zinnia started at home that are close to needing to come out. So all the irrigation's still working great down here. This is Gypsophilia Covent Garden. It's baby's breath. So just a little stand, but that's all I'm going to need. This stuff produces a lot. So I think what I'll do is I'll put the basils here. Now these are, not that they're not edible, but they are decorative basils. And they'll take up this little section here. I'll plant them even closer than 6 inches. That's fine. And those are going to be for greenery and filler. Now tomorrow I'm going to come out, hopefully early in the morning, so I'm not out here in the heat of the day because it's going to be hotter tomorrow, and do the same thing to this bed. Not the whole bed, because up at the front here we have stuff that I obviously want to keep in here. Amimagus, Orlea, which is still just growing, and this is a horrible wild sweet pea. And it's just so invasive. All right, anyway, so that's Orlea, and then we have Statice here. So I'm not gonna pull those up because they're just starting to produce, but all of these ranunculus, this is a lot of bed space here, gonna get pulled, and the same treatment. Broad fork, compost, new irrigation, and then it'll be ready for transplanting. So I've got a lot more zinnias at home, I've got more celosia at home, some other stuff. So that is the plan there. And then over here, I'm going to be harvesting off of this stuff. Strawflower, which is just kind of limping along. I don't think strawflower is good for a high tunnel. I think it's not nearly as tall as it is at home. But the Orlea and the Ami seem to like it. Scabiosa likes it. It's doing fine. And then this is Sweet Annie back here and some Feverfew, which is really far behind. I don't know if those will come up at all. This has a little bit more Ami in it, but I might pull all that and put something different. I don't know. It depends on if I need the space. Up here, though, in this bed, we have lots and lots of Dianthus, which are finally starting to put on growth. And because I don't think I need the bed space right now, I'm going to give them a little bit more time. Like that one's doing pretty good. I just would have thought we would have had stuff here by now. But again, with the weather, and this is the first time I've ever grown Dianthus, so I didn't really know what to expect in terms of production. But some of these are looking real good. Still have no idea. Like that's a weed, obviously, it's got to come out. Yeah, so these guys will stay, and there's a hole I need to fix. That's a pretty easy fix. And then this is asters with some more weeds. So doing a little bit of weeding tomorrow, and then more transplanting. Also going to have to come in and harvest some of these lilies because they are already blooming. I have taken a few already for customers, but some of these are going to be ready well before Monday when I harvest. So these are the Golden Tycoon ones. I'm sorry, Orange Tiger. Golden Tycoon is also starting, so that's great. And then you can see more, not yet ready, but getting close. And then these guys are a lot further away. This is Orange Tiger. So that one back there is Golden Tycoon. This is Orange Tiger, and this one on the end here is Lotus Queen. So again, much further apart. Look, you can see it's going to be a while. But that's cool because then it won't all come at once. It's hard when you get everything at once and then you feel like a lot of them go to waste. So I need to come in here tomorrow and harvest a whole bunch of these that are ready to go. And I'll gift them because I don't have a way to keep them from opening. And if they're too open, then they won't last very long for the customer. I mean, but that's so pretty, isn't it? I love it. And then finally tomorrow I have a whole other tray, another succession of sunflowers. These are branching ones up here. Dahlias coming up from last year. So my last succession stopped right here. Those are Gold Light. And I have more that will go in here, probably fill up this whole section because it's a lot of them. And we're harvesting from back here. This was the first, the initial succession, and I've already been harvesting from those. So this actually right here is kind of beyond where you want to harvest it if you're making bouquets for customers that want a long base life. Obviously, if you're having an event, you want to harvest them when they're pretty much open because you want them to look done for the event. But these, I'll have plenty to harvest for Monday. And those plus the lilies are gonna make some really nice first of summer bouquets for my CSA members. And I do need to do some weeding in here, but these zinnias are finally starting to put on some growth. And I actually should come in and pinch them. Normally I would do that, meaning I would, like this is a good example right here, and I'll do it to show you. Normally I would come in and take that off. That's going to encourage lots of side shoots and so many more flowers per plant. But they are so late producing this year that I don't know that I want to risk pinching because it's going to delay flowering by another couple of weeks at least. So I think what we'll do instead, you can not pinch multi-stem plants, and what happens is when you harvest them, if you cut low to the ground, that will encourage side shoots. So it just kind of depends on what your goal is, but I need flowers sooner rather than later. And the corn is actually growing, so that's good. Not so sure about the squashes. They're not looking so good, so I think I'm just gonna get some transplants and put some in. Okay guys, that's it for me today. Time to go home and get some mom duties done. Kiddos are wanting to set up a escape room adventure with their friends, so I need to go online and book that for them. Okay, thanks so much for hanging out with me today, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.